The sleek ships of the Galactic Hegemony entered Earth's solar system with practiced precision. Their hulls gleamed under the distant sun, each vessel larger than the largest human spacecraft ever built. The fleet moved like a school of metallic fish, their formation perfect after thousands of years of imperial expansion. Admiral Tay stood on the command bridge of the flagship Eternal Conquest, his four-fingered hands clasped behind his back. His scaled skin reflected the blue glow of holographic displays as he watched the third planet grow larger on the main view screen. "Magnificent," he murmured. "Another world for the glory of the hegemony." Officer Kim approached with a data tablet. Her uniform bore the 17 emblems of the conquered species that formed the Empire. "Scans complete, Admiral. Primitive technology detected. They have basic orbital capabilities and rudimentary weapons systems. Nothing that could possibly threaten our fleet." "Life signs?" asked Tay, his vertical pupils narrowing with interest. "One dominant intelligent species, bipedal mammals. They call themselves humans. Their civilization is fractured into nation-states, suggesting easy conquest through division." Tay nodded approvingly. "Standard protocol, then. We'll offer protected status, explain the resource tribute requirements, and begin integration into the lower tiers of the hegemony." "Should we prepare the pacification units?" asked Kim. "Not yet. These primitives usually surrender when they see our technology. Save the resources." Tay waved a dismissive hand. "Prepare Ambassador Cathar's shuttle. First contact in 12 hours. What the hegemony forces didn't realize was that Earth had been observing them for months. When their scout ships had first appeared at the edge of the solar system, they had triggered silent alarms on Earth's deep space monitoring network. 2 kilometers. Beneath Seoul, Director Park walked briskly through reinforced corridors carved into ancient bedrock. Her footsteps echoed as she entered the chamber where the United Earth Defense Council had assembled. Representatives from every major nation sat around a circular table, their faces illuminated by the soft glow of screens displaying the approaching alien fleet. "They're here," she announced calmly, taking her seat at the head of the table. "Exactly as our deep space arrays predicted." General Yoon of the Asian Coalition leaned forward. "How many ships?" 17 in the vanguard. Based on their energy signatures, they match the vessels we detected 3 months ago near Neptune. "Do we activate the orbital defense grid?" asked Premier Choi, his weathered face betraying concern. Director Park shook her head. "Not yet. Let them think we're defenseless. 20 years of preparation has led to this moment. Everything depends on them underestimating us." The room fell silent as footage appeared on the main screen. The alien shuttle descending through Earth's atmosphere, escorted at a distance by fighter jets that would appear primitive to the visitors. The shuttle landed on a prepared platform in neutral international waters. Its design was organic yet mechanical, with flowing lines that seemed to defy human engineering. When the doors opened, Ambassador Cathar emerged with his delegation of alien representatives, each species more bizarre than the last. Cathar stood 2 meters tall with translucent skin that revealed shifting organs beneath. His voice translator hummed as he greeted the human delegation. Ambassador Lee stepped forward, his traditional Korean formal wear a deliberate choice, showing Earth's cultural diversity rather than military might. He bowed respectfully. "On behalf of humanity, I welcome you to Earth." The alien delegation seemed pleased by the deference. Cathar's skin flushed with colors that his species recognized as superiority and confidence. "We bring greetings from the Galactic Hegemony, ruling power of 17 sentient species, across 3 spiral arms of the galaxy," Cathar announced. "We have come to offer your world protection and integration into our glorious empire." Ambassador Lee maintained a pleasant expression, though he understood exactly what this protection meant. The Council had studied the transmissions intercepted from the scout ships. They knew what happened to worlds that joined the hegemony. Cathar continued, displaying holographic images of advanced cities and spacecraft. "As a protected world, you will benefit from our technology and wisdom. In exchange, we require only reasonable resource tributes, 30% of your planet's mineral wealth, 60% of rare elements, and a modest conscription of your population for labor throughout the Empire." Hidden cameras transmitted the meeting to billions of humans watching worldwide. In homes, public squares, and refugee camps, people of all nations watched with quiet determination. This moment had been prepared for since the first confirmed alien signals decades ago. Cathar seemed puzzled by the lack of awe or fear from the human representatives. Perhaps you do not understand the honor being offered. Many worlds wait centuries for hegemony recognition. Ambassador Lee smiled politely. Behind that smile was the knowledge of orbital weapons platforms hidden in asteroid clusters, quantum entanglement mines scattered throughout the solar system, and technology the human race had kept secret even from itself. "We understand perfectly," Lee replied, "and we appreciate your empire taking the time to visit our humble planet." Cathar's translator emitted a sound of satisfaction. Then Lee's expression changed, subtly but definitively. "However, after careful consideration of your generous offer, we respectfully decline. Earth belongs to humanity." The alien delegation's posture shifted instantly. Cathar's skin darkened with what humans would later learn was shock and outrage. "You misunderstand," Cathar said, his translated voice hardening. "This is not a negotiation. The hegemony does not request. We inform. Ambassador." Lee stood straighter, his voice carrying across the platform and to the billions watching. "And we have informed you of our decision. We will not surrender our resources, our people, or our sovereignty." He stepped closer to Cathar, close enough to see the alien's internal organs pulsing with anger. "This is your only warning," Lee said, quietly. "Return to your empire. Tell them Earth is not for taking." The silence that followed seemed to stretch across the solar system. In orbit, Admiral Tay received the transmission with disbelief. No species had ever rejected hegemony protection. It was unthinkable. As the alien delegation returned to their shuttle, visibly agitated, humans worldwide prepared. Factory workers. Increased production of specialized components. Military personnel moved to predetermined positions. Civilian volunteers reported to emergency centers. The first contact was over. Earth had given its warning. Now humanity waited, ready for whatever came next. The hegemony's war council convened in the grand chamber of their capital ship, the Infinite Dominion. The vessel dwarfed everything in their fleet, a mobile city-state capable of destroying planetary defense systems with a single coordinated strike. 17 ornate chairs encircled the central holographic display, one for each species that comprised the Empire. General Han slammed his fist on the polished table. Unlike many council members with exotic physiologies, he appeared almost human, save for his obsidian skin that absorbed light and eyes that glowed with internal bioluminescence. "Ridiculous," he declared, as the recording of Ambassador Lee's warning played again. "Their defiance is based on ignorance, nothing more." Admiral Tay, freshly returned from the first contact mission, stood with his head slightly bowed. The humans showed no fear. It was unusual, because they don't understand what they're facing. Han dismissed the humans' warning with a wave of his hand. The holographic display shifted to show Earth's orbital infrastructure, primitive satellites, a small space station, and scattered debris. Their weapons are centuries behind ours. They have no faster-than-light capabilities and only a minimal presence beyond their atmosphere. Supreme Commander Dol, a massive arthropod-like being whose chitinous exoskeleton clicked with each movement, manipulated the display with specialized appendages. "We've analyzed their planetary defenses. Nuclear missiles are their most powerful weapons. Their aircraft use primitive combustion engines. Their naval vessels would be destroyed before realizing we were attacking." The council members chittered and growled in their species' equivalents of laughter. Only Analyst Sun remained silent. Unlike the others, Sun's species communicated partially through color changes in their translucent skin. Currently, Sun displayed patterns of concern visible to any who knew how to read them. "You wish to speak?" asked Emperor's voice Quan, the official representative of the hegemony's rarely seen ruler. Sun stepped forward, the liquid in her containment suit rippling. "There's something unusual about their development pattern," she said quietly. "They've focused on different technologies than any species we've encountered." The room fell silent. Sun's species were known for their analytical abilities across the galaxy. She touched the display, enlarging Earth's energy outputs. Look at their power generation and consumption. It doesn't match their visible technology. And their communications. She highlighted seemingly random radiation spikes. These patterns suggest quantum entanglement experiments. General Han scoffed. Primitive attempts, surely. Perhaps, Sun conceded. But their scientific understanding is advancing along unexpected paths, and their biological makeup. She displayed human DNA sequences. They evolved as pursuit predators on a death world. Their adaptability indices are off our charts. Are you suggesting we should fear these primitives? Han's voice dripped with contempt. I suggest caution, Sun replied. 17 subjugated species, and none have ever told us to leave with such as conviction. Commander Doll's mandibles clicked impatiently. Enough debate. The protocol is clear. They rejected protected status. We send a pacification fleet. Emperors... Voice Quan nodded. The fleet departs in 3 cycles. 200 warships should be sufficient. General Han will command. Han stood, towering over the others. I'll have these humans begging for mercy within days. As the council adjourned, Sun approached Admiral Tay privately. There's something we're missing, she whispered, her skin pulsing with warning patterns. Request permission to continue analyzing human communications. Granted, Tay replied, his own instincts troubled. But keep your findings quiet until you're certain. On Earth, President Choi stood in the Global Defense Command Center beneath Mount Hala. Unlike the opulent war room of the aliens, this facility prioritized function over form. Reinforced concrete walls surrounded advanced monitoring systems. Holographic displays showed the alien fleet still in Earth orbit. They're planning their next move, said Defense Minister Jin, her eyes never leaving the tactical display. Our deep space probes detect communication bursts to somewhere beyond Neptune's orbit. Choi nodded grimly, calling for reinforcements, no doubt. The room buzzed with controlled activity as military personnel from nations that had once been enemies worked with practiced coordination. Chinese quantum computing specialists collaborated with American weapons developers. Russian aerospace engineers conferred with Brazilian drone programmers. Activate the Aegis Protocol, Choi ordered. The command rippled across the planet. Deep beneath oceans, mountain ranges, and desert floors, massive doors slid open. In abandoned mines and hidden bunkers, production lines that had operated in secret for decades shifted into maximum output. Minister Jin approached with a data tablet. All 27 underground manufacturing hubs are now at peak capacity. The lunar shipyards have gone dark to avoid detection but continue construction. And Project Prometheus, Choi asked, ready for deployment? Though we never expected to need it so soon, Choi turned to the assembled leaders of Earth's unified defense force. Men and women who represented humanity's best hope stood at attention. For 50 years we've prepared for this moment, Choi said, voice steady. Since the Roswell recovery gave us our first glimpse of alien technology, we've known this day would come, not as conquerors, but as defenders of our home. The room hummed with somber determination. Choi activated the Global Command Network. On screens worldwide, in bunkers and secret facilities, his face appeared. Phase 2 is now active. They see what we want them to see, Choi told his cabinet, and by extension, defense leaders across the planet. Let them underestimate us. In orbit, disguised as space junk, advanced human sensors recorded every detail of the alien fleet. The data streamed to hidden facilities where scientists worked frantically to identify weaknesses. On the dark side of the moon, concealed from both Earth and the alien fleet, General Nam inspected the nearly completed lunar defense base. Workers in environmental suits attached the final components to massive railguns designed to launch kinetic projectiles at near-light speeds. Will we be ready? Asked his aide. Nam watched as a hidden hangar door opened, revealing rows of spacecraft unlike anything publicly known to exist on Earth. Their design incorporated principles reverse-engineered from crashed alien vessels and humanity's unique innovations. We've been ready for generations, Nam replied. Each time they visited, Roswell, Rendlesham Forest, Phoenix, we learned more. Each probe they sent taught us their weaknesses. Across Earth's oceans, enormous submarines, larger than aircraft carriers but invisible to conventional detection, moved into position. Within their hulls, they carried weapons that manipulated the fabric of space-time itself, developed through decades of secret research. In the Atacama Desert, what appeared to be a simple astronomical observatory reconfigured its massive dishes, aligning them with particular stars. The quantum communication network, Earth's greatest secret, prepared to coordinate humanity's response across impossible distances with no detectable signals. President Choi stared at the tactical display, showing the alien fleet. To the hegemony, Earth appeared vulnerable, a prize easily taken. They couldn't detect the planetary shield grid hidden beneath the oceans. They couldn't see the phase-shifted weapons platforms disguised as asteroids. They had no idea that humans had been intercepting and decoding their communications for decades. "How long until they attack?" asked Vice President Yeo. "Based on their previous conquest patterns, 3 to 5 days, replied Intelligence Director Park. "They're assembling what they call a pacification fleet." Choi's expression remained determined. "Then we have 3 to 5 days to complete our preparations. Humanity gave its warning. Now we prepare to back it up." In research labs around the world, scientists made final adjustments to technologies the human race had kept hidden even from itself, weapons and defenses based on principles the hegemony believed impossible. The trap was set. Earth waited. Commander Du stood on the bridge of the hegemony warship. Inevitable victory. His eyes fixed on the holographic display, showing Earth growing larger by the moment. 200 warships moved in perfect formation behind his flagship, their hulls gleaming in the distant sunlight. Each vessel bristled with weapons capable of reducing cities to ash in seconds. "Report," Du commanded, his voice carrying the authority of someone who had conquered dozens of worlds. "Fleet alignment perfect, Commander," reported his first officer, a tall, thin being with 6 arms and skin like polished copper. "Weapons charged at 80%, defense screens at maximum." Du nodded, satisfaction evident in the subtle movement of his head crest, a sign of pride among his species. The pacification fleet represented the largest military force ever deployed against a single planet in this sector. It was excessive, perhaps, but the humans' unexpected defiance demanded a response that would become legendary across the hegemony. "And the humans?" Du asked, almost as an afterthought. "No significant response detected, Commander. Their primitive satellites continue normal operations. We detect increased communications, but no military mobilization beyond their atmosphere." Du allowed himself a low, rumbling laugh. Just as expected, these mammals posture bravely until faced with true power. He turned to address the gathered. Officers on the bridge, a collection of the Empire's finest military minds representing 7 different species. "We will give them one opportunity to surrender unconditionally. When they accept, as they inevitably will, we begin standard resource extraction within the week." The fleet moved past Neptune, then Uranus, encountering nothing but the natural obstacles of space. Automated sensor platforms recorded the impressive armada, but remained passive, transmitting their data silently back to Earth through channels the hegemony's technology couldn't detect. "Strange," muttered Science Officer Wren, her crystalline form refracting light across her workstation. "I'm detecting unusual quantum fluctuations throughout the system." "Interference from the local star," suggested Du dismissively. "Unlikely." Wren's crystal structure pulsed with concentration. "The pattern appears artificial, but unlike any technology we've encountered." Commander Du waved away her concerns. "These humans barely understand atomic energy. Continue monitoring, but focus on mission parameters." As the fleet approached Jupiter, Du gathered his officers for the final briefing. Tactical displays showed Earth's defenses, or lack thereof, a handful of primitive satellites, a small space station, and minimal weapons platforms in low orbit. "These humans will surrender at the first show of force," Du told his officers confidently. "We'll position the fleet in low Earth orbit, targeting their major population centers. When they see 200 warships above their cities, their leaders will quickly reconsider their foolish defiance." No one questioned the strategy. The hegemony had used it successfully against 17 other species. The display of overwhelming force nearly always resulted in immediate capitulation. communication. "Channels open," announced the signals officer, ready to broadcast surrender terms on all Earth frequencies. "Excellent." Du settled into his command chair. "Proceed at standard speed. We'll be in optimal position within 3 hours." Deep beneath the lunar surface, Captain June moved through the bustling command center of Earth's primary defense base. Hidden from the enemy's sensors by advanced cloaking technology, the lunar installation represented humanity's greatest military achievement, a fully operational battle station with weapons the enemy couldn't imagine. "Status report," June ordered, approaching the main control hub where dozens of operators monitored the approaching fleet. "The enemy has passed Jupiter's orbit, Captain," reported Lieutenant Shin. "They maintain formation and show no signs of detecting our defenses." June nodded, studying the three-dimensional tactical display. The red dots representing enemy ships moved steadily toward Earth, unaware they were heading into a carefully prepared trap. "Quantum mine network," he asked. "Armed and ready," confirmed Chief Engineer Hua, her fingers dancing across specialized controls. "All 900 mines are phase-shifted and untraceable until activation." The quantum mines represented decades of secret research, devices that existed partially outside normal spacetime until triggered. Unlike conventional explosives, these weapons detonated simultaneously across multiple points in space through quantum entanglement, making shields useless. And the orbital platforms? All 23 platforms report ready, synchronized with Lunar Command, replied Weapons Officer Gill. "Space-time distortion generators at full capacity." June opened a secure channel to Earth Command. "Lunar Base to Earth Command. The enemy fleet has crossed the Jupiter threshold, requesting final authorization for defensive response." President Choi's face appeared on the screen, resolute and calm. "Authorization granted, Captain. Remember, our goal is not total destruction. We need to leave enough survivors to carry our message back to the hegemony." "Understood, sir. Will begin when they reach the Mars perimeter." The waiting was the hardest part. For hours the defenders watched as the enemy fleet approached, maintaining perfect discipline despite the knowledge that Earth's future hung in the balance. "They're entering Mars orbit," announced Lieutenant Shin finally. "Exactly as predicted." "Captain." June took a deep breath. Humanity had prepared for this moment for generations. "Commence Operation Silent Thunder." Commander Du smiled as Mars grew smaller behind his fleet. Soon Earth would be visible as more than just a bright point of light. "Prepare the display formations," he ordered. "I want these humans to see our full majesty when we arrive." The warning came too late. "Commander, detecting quantum anomalies throughout the fleet." Science Officer Wren's crystalline form flashed with alarm patterns. "What are you?" Du began, but never finished his sentence. Across 60% of the Imperial ships, reality itself seemed to hiccup. The quantum mines activated simultaneously, appearing inside engine rooms, command bridges, and weapon systems. The detonations weren't conventional explosions, but localized collapses of spacetime that simply erased portions of each vessel from existence. One moment, Du commanded 200 perfect warships. The next, 120 of them shattered into fragments, their hulls torn apart by weapons that defied the Empire's understanding of physics. "Impossible," Du roared as chaos erupted on the bridge. "Defensive formation, target the source of the attack." But there was no source to target. The mines had materialized inside the ships themselves, bypassing shields and armor as if they didn't exist. "Multiple hull breaches," cried his first officer. 37 ships completely destroyed, 83 critically damaged. Before Du could process this catastrophe, a new threat emerged. From what had appeared to be ordinary asteroids near Earth's moon, massive platforms unfolded like mechanical flowers opening to the sun. They oriented toward the stunned Imperial fleet and fired. The weapons didn't launch missiles or energy beams. Instead, they projected concentrated distortions in the fabric of space-time itself. Where these invisible forces touched Imperial ships, matter simply came apart at the subatomic level. Metal, technology, and crew dissolved into their component particles. Evasive action. Du ordered, but it was already too late. From the safety of the flagship Eternal Conquest holding position near Saturn, Admiral Tay watched in stunned horror as his pacification fleet disintegrated. The tactical display showed ship after ship vanishing from existence. "This cannot be happening," whispered his executive officer. "Their technology was primitive. We confirmed it." Admiral Tay said nothing, his mind racing to comprehend the scale of deception. The humans had hidden their true capabilities perfectly, showing the Empire exactly what they expected to see: a vulnerable, technologically inferior world. His command screen, a transmission cut through the chaos, a simple text message broadcast on Imperial frequencies. "We warned you once. There will not be a second warning." As the last of his attack force crumbled under weapons that shouldn't exist, Admiral Tay finally understood what the human ambassador's warning had meant. It hadn't been bravado or ignorance. It had been absolute confidence. "Retreat," he ordered quietly. "Full withdrawal from this system." But even as he gave the order, new signals appeared on his tactical display. Human ships emerging from hiding places throughout the solar system on an intercept course with his flagship. Admiral Tay, veteran of 100 conquests, felt something he hadn't experienced in decades: fear. The humans had given only one warning, and the Empire hadn't listened. General Kang stood on the command deck of the EDS Defiance, the flagship of Earth's hidden fleet. Until now, the sleek vessel had masqueraded as a simple asteroid mining operation in the belt. Its true nature, a warship with capabilities beyond anything humanity had publicly acknowledged, remained invisible to hegemony scanners through advanced cloaking technology. "Status report," Kang ordered, her voice steady despite the historic moment unfolding around her. "All vessels reporting ready, General," replied Colonel Yoon from the tactical station. 78 warships have shed their disguises and await your command." On the main view screen, scattered throughout the solar system, human vessels revealed themselves. Some emerged from within hollowed-out asteroids. Others transformed from what had appeared to be orbital refineries or communication satellites. A few simply materialized, their phase-shifting technology allowing them to exist slightly out of sync with normal spacetime until needed. The ships varied in size and configuration, but all shared the same sleek design philosophy: function, overform, with no wasted space or decorative elements. Earth had built these vessels for one purpose: to defend humanity against the stars. The quantum mine attack and lunar defense platforms have destroyed approximately 60% of the enemy fleet, reported Intelligence Officer Huang. The remaining forces are in disarray, attempting to regroup near Mars. Kang nodded, studying the tactical display. The red dots representing enemy ships moved erratically, their once perfect formation now scattered. "And our primary target, the hegemony flagship Eternal Conquest, remains in position near Saturn's rings. Admiral Tay appears to be coordinating the remnants of his fleet from there." Kang's expression hardened. Years of planning, decades of preparation, all for this moment. Earth had one chance to show the galaxy that humanity would not be conquered. "All ships, this is General Kang," she broadcast fleet-wide. "The defensive phase of our operation was successful beyond expectations. Now we move to Phase 2. Remember your training. Remember what we fight for. Today, we take the fight to them." She turned to her navigation officer. "Set course for the Mars battle group, maximum speed." The Defiance's fusion drives ignited, accelerating the vessel at forces that would have killed its crew if not for the inertial dampening systems. Across the solar system, the rest of humanity's fleet followed suit, their engines leaving trails of blue-white energy as they surged toward the remaining Imperial forces. "Weapons status?" Kang asked. "Gravitational lance charged and ready," reported Weapons Officer Gill. "Quantum torpedoes armed, point defense systems active." Unlike the crude missiles and energy weapons the hegemony believed humanity possessed, these weapons manipulated the fundamental forces of the universe. The gravitational lance concentrated gravitational waves into a beam capable of crushing even the strongest hull. Quantum torpedoes created localized ruptures in space-time that no shield could stop. As the human fleet approached the scattered Imperial forces, Kang opened a communication channel. "This is General Kang of the Earth Defense Force to all hegemony vessels. You entered our system uninvited. You threatened our world. You have seen a fraction of our capabilities, Surrender now or be destroyed. The response came quickly. A barrage of energy weapons fire from the regrouping Imperial ships. They've made their choice, Kang said grimly. All ships, engage at will. Target their command vessels first. The space around Mars erupted in battle. Human ships moved with unexpected speed and agility, their advanced AI targeting systems predicting enemy maneuvers before they happened. Imperial energy beams mostly found empty space, as Earth vessels shifted position faster than the hegemony's targeting systems could track. In contrast, humanity's counterattack struck with devastating precision. Gravitational lances compressed Imperial ships into unrecognizable masses of metal and organic material. Quantum torpedoes created spheres of distorted reality that simply erased portions of enemy vessels from existence. From the bridge of the Defiance, Kang watched the battle unfold with cold calculation. When the last Imperial ship near Mars went dark, she gave the order that would change the course of galactic history. Begin Phase 2, ordered Kang. Target their supply lines and communication hubs. The human fleet split into 3 battle groups. The first continued towards Saturn to engage Admiral Tay's flagship. The second headed outward, toward the system's edge where hegemony reinforcements would eventually arrive. The third group, led by the Defiance, plotted a course that would take them beyond the solar system, toward hegemony territory. Engage FTL drives, Kang commanded. The impossible happened. The ships that the hegemony believed incapable of faster-than-light travel accelerated beyond the speed of light, disappearing in flashes of distorted space. In her secure bunker 5 kilometers beneath Mount Pektu, Commander Jin moved through rows of specialized workstations. The cybersecurity experts gathered here represented the best minds from every nation on Earth, working together in what might be humanity's most important non-violent operation. Status report, Jin requested, stopping behind a young analyst whose fingers flew across a holographic interface. We've maintained complete access to the hegemony's primary communication network, he reported. Their encryption remains compromised. They have no idea we've been inside their systems for months. Jin nodded, satisfied. While the hegemony had studied Earth's visible communications, they'd never detected the quantum-encrypted channels humanity actually used for sensitive information. This oversight had allowed Earth's cyber teams to infiltrate Imperial networks through their own scout ships, planting sophisticated backdoors throughout their systems. On the main screen, a 3-dimensional representation of the hegemony's communication network spread like a vast web. Critical nodes glowed red, vulnerable targets that would cause maximum disruption when compromised. The fleet has engaged the enemy, Jin announced to the room. Our turn now. She took her position at the command console, entering her authorization. Code: execute sleeper protocols. Throughout the bunker, specialists activated pre-planted algorithms that had hidden dormant in Imperial systems. Across thousands of light years, throughout 17 conquered worlds and hundreds of hegemony vessels, the effects were immediate and devastating. Navigation systems suddenly displayed incorrect coordinates, sending ships veering off course. Communication arrays broadcast garbled nonsense or fell silent entirely. Defense grids identified friendly vessels as enemies. Resource allocation algorithms diverted critical supplies to empty space. Jin watched as the chaos spread across the display system after system, turning from green to red as they failed. Phase 1 complete, reported her second-in-command. Moving to Phase 2, data extraction. While the Empire struggled to restore basic functions, Earth's cyber teams began downloading everything: tactical information, technological specifications, star charts, and most importantly, details about the 17 subjugated species. Information that would prove invaluable in the coming conflict. They never imagined we could reach them, Jin said quietly. They thought distance would protect them. In the glittering imperial capital, Defense Minister Song burst into the High Council chamber, interrupting an ongoing debate about resource allocation. The minister's scales had lost their luster, a sign of extreme distress in his species. "We are under attack," Song announced, his voice translator barely able to keep up with his agitated speech patterns. "The humans have somehow breached our defenses, not just in their system but throughout the Empire." The council members stared in disbelief. "Impossible," declared High Chancellor Tech. Their technology is primitive. Admiral Tay confirmed this himself. Song projected a holographic display in the center of the chamber. It showed cascading system failures across every Imperial territory, spreading like a virus. The pacification fleet has been destroyed, Song continued, his voice trembling. And our long-range scanners have detected human vessels, I repeat human vessels, using faster-than-light technology to approach our outer colonies. The chamber erupted in panic. How can this be? Demanded the Trade Minister. Our intelligence confirmed they had no FTL capability. They hid their true technology, Song replied, and now our communication network is compromised. Our navigation systems are failing. Our defense grids are shutting down. He looked around at the assembled leaders, fear evident in his posture. We have catastrophically underestimated human ingenuity, and we may pay for this error with the Empire itself. As if to emphasize his point, the chamber's lights flickered and died, leaving the Imperial leadership in darkness. Ambassador Lee stood at the viewport of the EDS Harbinger, watching as the hegemony's capital planet grew larger. In the distance, the massive gas giant glowed with artificial light, its rings studded with enormous space stations and defensive installations. Hundreds of ships moved in careful patterns around the planet, but none approached the Harbinger. Humanity's presence had earned a wide berth. Quite a sight, remarked Captain Gill beside him. Hard to believe we're the first non-Empire ship to approach this world in over 3 centuries. Lee nodded, adjusting the formal diplomatic uniform that represented all of Earth's nations, and hopefully the last to arrive with weapons armed. The Harbinger represented the pinnacle of human military technology, sleek, powerful, and imposing. Its hull gleamed with a dark material that absorbed scanning beams rather than reflecting them. Accompanying it were 5 additional warships, hanging back at a respectful distance, but visible enough to make their presence known. We're receiving the approach vector, Captain Gill reported, as his communication officer relayed the information. They're directing us to their primary diplomatic docking station. Any tricks? Lee asked. None that our systems can detect. Looks like they're treating us with unusual caution. Lee allowed himself a small smile. 3 weeks ago, they thought, us primitives barely worth their attention. Today they escort us to their capital with an honor guard. The honor guard in question, 12 Imperial vessels with weapons powered down, kept a careful distance from the human ships. Their typically perfect formation seemed slightly ragged, evidence of the chaos Earth's counterattack had inflicted on Imperial systems. As the Harbinger docked with the enormous station orbiting the capital, Lee prepared himself for the most important diplomatic meeting in human history. Unlike the hegemony's first contact with Earth, humanity wouldn't arrive with demands, but with a vision for something better. The Imperial Council chamber stretched hundreds of meters in every direction, its ceiling a perfect replica of the galaxy, stars glowing in accurate positions. 17 massive thrones represented each species of the hegemony, arranged in a hierarchy of conquest, the earliest conquered species at the bottom, the founding race at the apex. Ambassador Lee walked the long path to the center of the chamber, alone, his footsteps echoing in the unnatural silence. Thousands of Imperial officials and representatives lined the walkway, their diverse physiologies united in wary attention. Chancellor Min occupied the highest throne, his species resembling elegant insectoids with iridescent exoskeletons and compound eyes that reflected light in hypnotic patterns. As nominal head of the Imperial Council, he would speak for the hegemony today. Lee reached the designated position and bowed precisely, deep enough to show respect, not deep enough to suggest submission. Ambassador Lee of Earth, announced the Imperial Herald, voice translators carrying the words in 17 different languages simultaneously. Here to discuss terms of Earth's surrender to the glorious hegemony. Lee smiled politely. I'm afraid there's been a misunderstanding. I'm not here to discuss Earth's surrender. Murmurs rippled through the chamber. Chancellor Min's translator conveyed his confusion. You have requested this audience. Your forces have withdrawn to your home system. The natural conclusion is surrender negotiations.